people were made to fight.
In warehouses, motorcycle clubs, and even family homes, blood is being spilled.
Behind y'all, he's cooking blood! He got blood!
Undercover and illicit, fight clubs are drawing competitors and spectators from all walks of American life.
But you can either go out and see a Broadway musical, or you can go watch your friends beat each other up.
Young and old, men and women, Americans aren't pulling their punches.
During the day, I'm just holding babies all day, and I go out and get to punch someone in the face.
They're fighting in secret.
The attraction of an underground fight club is that it's illicit.
And they're fighting without rules.
There will be blood, there'll be sweat and tears. It's mandatory.
Landing blows against a meaningless modern life.
You live in a box, you work in a box, you come home to a box, you eat out of a box, and it's that inauthenticity that drives many guys crazy.
And on a quest to feel something real.
If you make a mistake, you pay. You pay dearly.
Step inside the little-known world of America's fight clubs. In the 21st century, American society values safety and order. Here in the peaceful suburbs, aggression is often frowned upon, and violence is punished.
There's a cost to everything being safer.
Society has become too sanitized, too safe.
Some believe that modern society stifles our primal urge to test ourselves with our fists.
You don't know how it's gonna feel to get punched because most Americans have never gotten a punch.
But there's an underground scene of Americans who know exactly how it feels to be punched, kicked, and knocked out. They're members of unsanctioned fight clubs.
Anytime that men gather and beat each other over the head, even with just their fists, it's, an answer to society stifling, the male need for violence, the instinct to test yourself physically.
All right, let's see what's inside.
In Northern California's Silicon Valley, two software engineers are on the hunt for hardware.
How do you like this?
You want to go wired or wireless?
But these self-confessed geeks aren't upgrading their office.
It's perfect for smashing.
They're preparing for hand-to-hand combat. Silicon Valley, California. It's home to the planet's top technology companies, a place where geeks reign supreme.
My name is Gins and I'm a software engineer.
On the outside, Gins is a typical middle-class professional. Inside, he's someone completely different.
I was just born at the wrong time and should be on a battlefield cracking skulls or something instead of typing.
15 years ago, Gins came up with a way to unleash his inner warrior. He started the Gentleman's Fight Club in his garage.
It takes a lot of work to convert the typical urban space into something that's a little more like a fighting studio or whatever.
While other geeks are spending their Saturday afternoon playing computer games, Gins and his friend Sheehan are preparing for raw, real combat.
I would say that most neighborhoods are completely unaccepting of this. There's nothing illegal about this, but it certainly is on the edge of what a society is willing to accept.
Yes, it's good.
In the mid-1990s, Gins was a frustrated martial artist. He was looking for a new challenge.
The Gentleman's Fight Club grew out of a training group at my Kenpo club. We just wanted to go a little bit further than we were allowed to do so in class.
So Gins and his friends got together in Gins' garage. dropped the martial arts and began attacking each other with a variety of household weapons.
We decided to throw things in the mix. Well, what happens if I use a short knife? What happens if I use a long one? What happens if you swing a stick at another person? I said, oh, no. You're gonna die if that happens. Well, we tried it. It really hurt, but, everybody got up. Nobody was dead.
Encouraged, Gins went on a membership drive.
I specifically went to martial arts seminars thinking I would find a lot of people there, but it seems like out of 100 people that I talked to, one wanted to show up.
Then Fight Club the movie happened and changed everything.
I think it was meant as a critique of the culture in which these guys are living. You live in a box, you work in a box, you go to work in a box, you come home to a box, you eat out of a box, you watch a box. It's like your life is completely circumscribed. Your life is completely inauthentic. You want to go out into the woods and you want to tear some animal, and eat their meat raw or something. You want to do something that feels real.
Suddenly, Gins has fighters flocking.
Right around the time the movie came out is when the non-martial artists joined, and then it just grew. Over 250 people have walked through the door. Some show up just once to know if they can do it, and others have been doing it for 5, 10 years in a row.
The fighting arena is ready. Now the arsenal of weapons is sorted and prepped.
Here's a stick. Causes a lot of welts. Not the best to use in sporting equipment. Here's a racquetball racket that used to have a good shape. It's done somebody some damage. We fight here with knives. This is not sharp. It just looks very scary because it's polished metal. Move on to a pursa filled with a little wallet. It's 2 pounds of steel shot in here. Packs the wallet. On the chains, this has got to be one of the more painful and dangerous things we've tried. It just wraps around and whacks you on the spine.
At 3 p.m., the fighters assemble.
Welcome to Gentlemen's Fighting Club. We're a group of friends gathered here from all over the world to get together and just beat each other up. You are not unique.
Most are software engineers used to tapping keyboards, not having them smashed over their heads.
There are 2 guidelines. 1, do not cripple your friend. And 2, do not bring them to tears. When you sense the spirit is broken, there is no need to obliterate it. Fights usually are 1 minute long, but if they're delicious, we'll let them run. With that said, let's get it on.
There's no medic and no ambulance waiting outside. Though the bouts last just 1 minute, every fighter knows that's more than enough time to inflict serious damage.
Hey, Raj, you want to...
Fighting is dangerous, and it's not like going out to the park and tossing a frisbee. I've had broken nose, broken fingers, cracked ribs. I've had friends that have had their faces fractured in multiple locations. We wear masks to fight. It's not because we're sissies, but it's to prevent the loss of an eye.
First to fight are Dave Schlotthauer and Ryoger Lee. Their weapon of choice, the keyboard.
30 seconds. Keep going, a few more keys. All right. That's it, they're done.
After each fight, the cuts and welts are displayed like badges of honor.
Big something going on there.
Oh, wow. That's nice.
The last shot was the worst. Yeah, the last shot got me in the padded area towards the top, and it stung for a moment. There's a lot of jostling, with the brain. So you're gonna get dizzy, you're gonna get nauseous. This plastic gets sharp. It hurts. It hurts, it's no joke.
So what's the purpose of all this pain?
It's hard to explain. Like, for most people, you go, get in your car, commute to work, do your job, drive home, and then that's your existence. And you're only on this planet for about 80 years if you're lucky. Why not make the most of it and do things that are exciting?
It is definitely repressive to have to, sit in an office chair in a cubicle 8 hours, 9 hours a day. To have the outlet to go and fight, to just be physical against someone else. I mean, that's a necessary thing.
Next into the ring is Gins with his favorite weapon.
Chair fight is one of my favorites. These just explode and go all over the place, but in the end, it gets very dangerous. They turn into wooden spikes, which could easily impale anybody doing this.
And they're about to be used with devastating effect. In the suburbs outside Silicon Valley, few passers-by would suspect the violence unfolding behind closed doors. These software engineers have found a novel way to let off steam.
I don't know, it's not for everybody, for sure. But I couldn't imagine not showing up. I mean, it's incredible.
Fight Club founder Gins and Ernesto is about to go into battle armed with a chair.
I still feel fear before a fight. Is this the time when something bad will happen? Is this the time when the other person won't get up?
Timekeeper ready. Fighters ready. Fight!
The fights may start out friendly, but as soon as there's like a really hard shot, all gentlemanly guises are just evaporated. A little bit of a mess in there. So these, really, how much is there? Oh, jeez. Yeah, so looks kind of like a split on the scalp or something like that. Yeah.
Far from being disturbed by the sight of blood, some fighters welcome it.
Blood's good. I always say that if I go home and I'm not bleeding, that I didn't try hard enough, and I didn't leave everything. So let's stay here for a while, hopefully.
It seems the desire to be wounded is more vital than the urge to inflict injury.
Guys that I have interviewed who have done fight clubs say that the real important part of it is not hitting someone else, it's being hit. Because you actually feel something. The idea that you feel something that's real, that's authentic, that's immediate, that's visceral, you can go through your whole life in this culture and not feel anything.
Decisions about matchups and weapons are taken with gentlemanly decorum.
I love you.
Okay. Fighting is almost like a dance. You walk up and you say, would you like to fight? And the other person says, well, yes, I would like to fight. What would you like to fight with? I say the chain.
I enjoy the chain fights because of the speed, and if you make a mistake, you pay. You pay dearly.
Timekeeper ready. Cameras ready. Fighters ready. Go! Protect your fingers.
We fight for fun. We don't fight to hurt each other. This is just, for us, an alternative to playing cards in the garage.
That's a link.
Look at that. Oh. It's shaped like a link right across the hand.
Shape? Yeah, it's
Oh, there's another one.
Wow. Chain identity confirmed?
Nice.
Okay.
I'm proud of this.
No, the best one. Stick your arm out.
Oh, nice.
Oh. I wonder how that happened. This must have just like wrapped fully around.
I think it's just about himself.
Oh man, that's like an expensive tattoo.
Gins admits the risks have increased over the years as the fighters seek bigger thrills.
Seems like with every year, it just gets more dangerous. I think it's because we get used to one level of danger, and that's just not enough.
The problem of doing it too often is it becomes ritualized. I can't feel real unless you're punching me. If it becomes ritualized, and the only way you can feel anything is if somebody's punching you in the face, then it's a problem. And it's a problem that's gonna lead to serious brain damage, serious injury.
15 years since he started the Gentleman's Fight Club.
Yeah,
Gins says the club is reaching its twilight years.
I'd say this fighting club is certainly in decline, in part because I'm over the hill. We used to fight every 2 weeks, Tuesday night, for nearly a decade. Then, as I became more the domesticated man with the wife and kids, it's unsustainable to run something like this.
But Gins should feel optimistic about the future. Because on the other side of the country, underground fight clubs are alive and well, if you know where to look.
There will be blood, there will be sweat and tears. It's mandatory.
In the 19th century and most of the 20th, America's favorite fighting style was boxing. But in the 1990s, a brutal hybrid of fighting styles arrived from Asia via Brazil. Called mixed martial arts, or MMA, it seemed to have boxing on the ropes.
Boxing has very rigid rules. To put it bluntly, all you can do is punch. In MMA, there's grappling mixed in, there's kicking, kung fu guys taking on judo guys, wrestlers taking on kickboxers. The permutations are almost endless.
MMA is now a regulated sport, familiar to millions as Ultimate Fighting Championship. But in New York State, professional MMA is illegal, forcing those who want to fight into unpaid bouts in underground clubs, where the usual rules don't apply.
The first key rule is have heart. Second rule, courage. Third rule, don't be a bitch. And the last rule, be able to bang.
Novell Bell is a Harlem-based underground fight organizer. He's in Central Park, preparing his stable of fighters for a bout. These fighters come from some of the most violent communities in New York City.
He's a hurt animal. We had to finish him. He hurting. He hurting, y'all. He's looking blood. Right now, you see a lot of guns. Young cats like 13, 14 years old carrying guns, thinking they the next Clint Eastwood or some shit. So what my goal is to try to train these dudes and show them a better way where they can use and direct that energy in a positive way than a negative way on the streets. That's what I'm talking about. That's it. Walk them down, son. Punch them down. Ah, yeah, that's what I'm talking about, son. You gotta learn how to finish cats, man. When you get somebody hurt, you go in and you finish them, and that's the rest. Even though this is training, because you gotta look at how you train is how you fight.
Novell's an ex-fighter himself. One of the rookies he's training is Ernesto.
All right, so Buster, I'm gonna have you go against, my man right there.
He'll be sparring with experienced kung fu exponent, DJ.
Ding, 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 ding. Remember, use your bagua, go back to old school. Ernesto, he's from Harlem. He looks young, but he's older than most people think. You know what I'm saying? Double up the jab. There you go. That's what I told you before. Do it again. He could be a great fighter. Trains hard. He still lives that gangster life, as I should say. Not bad, not bad. At least you hang with the big giants. Not bad, son. How you feel? Use your bagua, use that palm out there.
They're coached according to a style of Chinese Kung Fu known as Baguazhang.
You got your legs here, keep them hands up.
Baguazhang was a martial art created for the Royal Guard. No Royal Guard ever took prisoners. There was no non-lethal techniques. The Royal Guard came after you, you were dead. Period. That's what Baguazhang is.
That's it. That's pretty
Tomorrow,
good.
Novell's fighters will test their mix of street style and Baguazhang at an underground fight club called Man Up, Stand Up.
It's called Man Up, Stand Up because it deals with stand-up fighting combat. Thanks, Yahuda. You know, on the street, nobody's trying to get on the ground what you do on the concrete. You know what I'm saying? So it's basically you gotta hold your own or man up, stand up with your hands up. You know what I mean? You handle your business standing up. That shows that you got real good skill instead of going to the ground.
In sanctioned MMA, fighters are allowed to go to ground and stay there until one fighter submits.
You know what I'm talking
But
about.
at Man Up, Stand Up,
That's it, there you go.
fighting on the ground is limited to 10 seconds.
Good shit. That's what I'm talking about. If you hit the ground 10 seconds, that's it. No MMA. That's what separates us from MMA. Our whole goal is, you know, try to knock the dude out standing up. When you set up the uppercut. There, good shot, good shot, good shot.
Novell's Fight Club has started attracting challengers from other parts of the nation.
Came back, that's what I'm talking about.
Kelly Cross Johnson and John Meredith have just flown in from Utah to take on Novell's fighters.
Urban style against suburban style.
There's a lot of intimidation coming here to New York, but I feel like that could actually give me a lot more spirit in there because I'm coming up against something very strong.
Kelly teaches Kung Fu in Utah. Tomorrow's bout will be a chance to test his skills against more street-style fighters.
There is so much riding on tomorrow's fight, not just for me and not just for my students, but those back at home for me as well that are counting on this. If I can show strong spirit and good technique, then I believe that others will see that that's a possibility to learn from me.
And transfer, keep this here.
One of the originators of the Baguazhang style in New York was Benjamin Hill.
Find your fucking footage.
Like this.
He used to train with Novell, but these days, they don't always see eye to eye.
All you cats still believe in this, I don't know, this mystical with the chi. I don't believe in that
No, no,
Chi
I'm
to
talking
me
about structure. We're not even talking
What
about
about
shit.
even structure?
What about structure? You
How
saying
can
you don't
talk
need
about-
structure?
No,
Not what you
because
saying?
it's bull.
Structure is bull.
I'm gonna tell you why it's bull.
It's a debate that has been raging in the martial arts community for centuries.
What?
Form versus function.
It's still structure. Your movement is
Yo,
structure.
if you tell me something, if you throw a punch like this, is your structure?
It doesn't make a difference.
Oh, you throw it like this.
But your throw punches like that. But when in the fight time come, what they do? They get their ass kicked, right? I believe in sparring structure. I just don't.
I sure the don't do that. That's that Tai Chi. I don't know nothing about that.
The chi must flow. I don't believe in that.
I don't do that.
Everybody try to put a name brand on something. Like, oh, this is karate, this is kung fu. But when you look at the end of the day, if me and you banging and I hit you and I happen to clinch you, it's the same.
At the Utah camp, things are much more sedate. Kelly and John are saving their energy for tomorrow's fight. And they're gonna need it.
What happened?
In Queens, New York, young men are gathering at an illicit underground fight club called Man Up, Stand Up.
The fact that it's an underground fight scene is very intimidating. You kind of have to put it in the back of your mind and just take the situation for what it is while you're here.
A brutal mix of martial arts and street brawl. It's an unregulated event that very few New Yorkers know about.
The attraction of an underground fight club is that it's illicit, very secretive, and what you get when you get there is, raw combat.
Just a basic jab right here.
Man Up stand-up promoter Novell Bell defines the rules of engagement.
I'm correct, right? You don't kick a guy in the kneecaps. You feel what I'm saying? You don't punch a guy in the throat. No eye gouging, no the tight clawing. You don't say that for the streets.
This fight club has rules, but unlike sanctioned bouts, they can be changed at any time. In America, sanctioned fights are overseen by an independent athletic commission. It prevents promoters from changing the rules to fix matches.
An unsanctioned fight means there's no oversight. It's what the promoter says the rules are, those are the rules. What the fighters agree to, those are the rules.
10-second rule applies when you hit the ground. Once you hit the ground, if you're down there, I then count.
An unsanctioned fight is potentially more dangerous.
In an unsanctioned bout, there's no insurance. There's no standards in terms of like, are the referees trained? Are there doctors or you know, is there medical care immediately available to the fighters if they're injured? That's, you know, what you get in an unsanctioned bout.
Coconut water or Gatorade. Take your pick.
This fight club does have a medic, but there are no regulations covering doping and no pre-fight health checks.
Somebody's gonna get that black eye, that bloody nose, that busted lip. It's just the way it is.
Fighters are judged on their technique and their ability to knock their opponent out. There's no prize money or payment. If there were, these fights would be illegal.
If you do mantis, we want to see praying mantis. If you do karate, we want to see karate. You judo, ninjutsu, eagle claw, whatever the system may be.
First in the ring will be Utah lightweight John Meredith versus Harlem's Ernesto Miranda.
Earn the Bagua man, he's got really good structure, he looks really fit. Seems like he's been banged up a little bit, he's been taking some punishments, so he's used to that. So I'm gonna have a really hard time just bringing pain, so we'll see what happens.
Looks like he's a pretty tough little guy, you know, he's a little shorter than me, but we'll see how it goes, you know. It looks like he got a pretty good hit. Other than that, I'm psyched, yeah.
Ready? Ding, 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 ding. Go. Come out. Get it, Aaron. Whoa. Come on, man. Use your skills. Use your skills.
The fights run for 3 rounds of 3 minutes each.
Come on, let's go.
The pair appear evenly matched until Ernesto lands a punch that seems to rattle his opponent.
Personally, I thought I had to fight hands down with my hands, you know.
But just seconds later, it's all over.
I'm not really used to the headgear, so it was kind of uncomfortable for me.
Ernesto calls it quits, saying he's been choked by his headgear.
If it wasn't for the ground game, him locking me up, and then, you know, like I said, I don't want to make excuses, but literally the face mask is choking me out.
Despite the result, both men have gained respect. Some see fight clubs as a modern-day rite of passage.
There are many, many cultures that require some kind of rite of passage where a young man is tested. He has to prove himself. In virtually all cultures, it's older men who design the ritual, figure it out, plan it, execute it, and are there on the other side to say, yes, son, you've made it, you're now a man, you're a member of this culture.
Looking like straight out of Coming Back to America behind me. You know what I'm saying?
Fight organizer Neville hopes his other novice Yehuda will fare better in the ring.
My strategy is to get in close and use my jab and right hand and just keep it basic and just stay in close and be aggressive.
He begins strong, but his lack of experience shows. Near the end of the first round, Yehuda leaves his head bone. He's been knocked out cold. No one knows how bad the injury is.
It's dangerous, very dangerous to get in the ring when there's no rules. But the bouts that I've seen, there's always been referees. Mainstream mixed martial arts has kind of instilled the need for a referee in the public consciousness. So when people go and compete in these events, there's always a referee there that'll stop a bout if someone's taking too much punishment.
Minutes pass. Finally, Yehuda is able to stand up.
Unfortunately, he caught me with that shot. I didn't protect myself the way I was supposed to, and it cost me.
Next in the ring is Kelly Crofts Johnson from Utah. He's been training hard. Now he hopes he can apply it in the ring.
It's kind of one thing to do it when you're practicing with your friends and things like that. It's another thing when the guy's really trying to take your head off.
Despite his fears, Kelly's disciplined and aggressive approach appears to give him the edge over his opponent.
Oh my God! I can't believe it. Uh-oh! You went into the movie world now. Here we go. Here we go.
But when Kelly gets up after the grapple, something is clearly wrong.
What happened? I just seen him drop.
Kelly is hyperventilating. The paramedic rushes to his aid. The intensity of the conflict has sent Kelly's body into a physiological panic.
To be honest, I think it was more mental than anything because I don't really remember receiving too many hard strikes. Right at the end of the fight, I started having a panic attack. I felt my heart beating quite hard, and I felt like it was expanding within my chest, and that caused me to feel quite a bit of fear. And then I hit the ground, and it was all done from there.
Don't step in the rain if you can't handle the pain.
As the afternoon wears on, the fights intensify, and blood flows freely. That's part of the reason the fighters and the spectators are here.
You want to see something that's real. And how do you know it's real? That guy's hurt. That guy's cut. That guy's in pain. That's real.
But in other parts of America, it's not just men who are spilling blood in underground fight clubs. Oakland, California, a city notorious for gang violence and high in street crime. Hidden away in one of its meanest corners is a fight club like no other. It's not for frustrated geeks. It's not for aspiring MMA stars. It's for bikers and hipsters with something to prove. This is Fight Night at the East Bay Rats motorcycle club.
You can either go out and see a band, or you can go out and see a Broadway musical, or you can go watch your friends beat each other up. And so, I mean, depending on what you need for the night, I think it's pretty entertaining.
East Bay Rats Motorcycle Club was founded in 1994.
We were just riding bikes together. We were a club already, so then putting a name and a patch on it was just sort of the natural progression.
Fight nights grew out of their wild parties.
One day we set up every rat with another rat, had a big party around it, and then after that other people started fighting. Fights went all night, and everybody wanted to do it again.
Since then, fighting has become a form of initiation for anyone who wants to become a full-time member of the East Bay Rats motorcycle. Josh is a prospect. He's going through his initiation.
To become a rat as a prospect, you have to fight 3 times in the ring over the course of the year when you want. You don't have to win or lose, but you do have to get in here and give it your best.
Fighting in terms of being an initiation rite is actually pretty common. What this motorcycle group is doing to initiate their members is like a test that someone would have to overcome.
Josh might have bitten the canvas, but he's one fight closer to full membership. "27-year-old Jared Mabry recently became a fully patched East Bay Rats member. Now he's in. He doesn't have to fight, but he wants to.
It is a very important part of our culture being a motorcycle club. I mean, we don't want to have anybody in here that cannot hold themselves. I mean, Oakland, unfortunately, is a dangerous place to be. So it's nice to know that you've got capable individuals around you.
For Jared, the East Bay Rats are far more than a club. They're family.
Both my parents passed away in the last couple of years, so my mother passed away right before I started prospecting, and my dad passed away right before I became a member. And so I know that after having met a lot of the guys in the club and realized that it is a family, is supported at 100%, you know.
Cheers, cheers. Getting ready for tonight, man.
Tonight, Jared will fight again.
Yeah, I think that's a hell of a match.
Yeah,
that's good.
I'll do my best, man. Worst you can do is get knocked out.
Being a veteran doesn't make stepping in the ring any easier.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, I'm taking on Purple today.
The 5 minutes before you go into a fight, you might be the most, anxious, as far as going into it. But the minute you get into the ring, everything goes. It's you let nature take its course, and you just get in there and have fun.
Fight night rules are minimal. There are no judges, no set number of rounds, and fighters fight until one of them gives up. The pink cat is the referee.
As far as our rules go, it's strictly boxing, standing in front of each other, throwing punches. No hitting in the back of the head, no hitting below the waist, typically no pushing, even though it happens a lot, and it will happen. And, no takedowns or anything like that.
It looks raw and brutal, but at this fight night, the aim isn't to destroy your opponent.
We don't want everyone that comes through to be sent to the hospital. Sometimes you can see that come through with certain people where maybe they had a bad day and they're using this time to get up there and be angry, and that's typically not what it's about.
At the end of the first round, Jared's opponent is too exhausted to continue. The referee declares Jared the winner.
After a fight, I guess you feel relieved that it's finally over. You get to breathe and calm down a little bit. But I think that at the East Bay Rats fight clubs, it's nice because there is no winner or loser. If you had the guts to get up there and do it, you're a winner in and of that.
Perhaps it's this relaxed philosophy that makes this fight club so popular, and one to which even female fighters are flocking.
Some of the girls that get up in the ring would actually give a lot of the guys a run for their money.
At a motorcycle gang clubhouse in Oakland, California, ordinary people are stepping into the ring to get bloody and bruised. It's a proving ground for bikers and hipsters. Unlike a lot of fight clubs, women are welcome. And they do more than watch.
I'm Katie Holton, and I fight at the East Bay Rats Fight Club.
Earlier today, 23-year-old Katie was at work, looking after children in a daycare. Now, she's preparing to jump in the ring and punch another woman.
I kind of have a perfect balance, because during the day, I'm just holding babies all day and loving them, nurturing them, and then I go out and get to punch someone in the face,
Are you gonna fight tonight? Yeah, I think so.
Katie's been fighting for 2 years.
But I met her once.
At a recent East Bay Rats fight party, she traded punches with her best friend and roommate, Bean.
See if I'll be able to take a hit or not.
When I fought Bean, we didn't hit each other as hard as we would have hit strangers, but it's still fun. I mean, it's playing a game and competing with your best friend.
Tonight's fight will be different. Katie's never met her opponent, but she's heard she's tough.
Before a fight, I get super nervous. My stomach gets butterflies and I get kind of quiet, but then as soon as I get in the ring, all those nerves kind of just fade away.
All right, ladies know to keep it clean, but I'm not gonna stop when it gets dirty.
In 10 fights, Katie suffered her share of injuries, including a broken nose. But for her, the risk is outweighed by the thrill.
When we get in the ring, it's about the sport, not about hating your opponent or anything like that. But sometimes when you get hit really hard, you lose sight of that for a second. I try to think of it like a chess game. You just have to think of it like that more so than getting emotionally involved.
Plows in like raging bullfrog. She kind of fights like Tyson. She just swings through the fences and keeps moving forward.
For Katie, Fight Club is not just about landing blows on her opponent. She's also landing a few for women everywhere.
I think the girl fights are better a lot of the time because girls have a higher tolerance for pain. And I feel like we kind of have something more to prove than a guy getting in the ring too, so it just gives us more determination.
There's no doubt that for many in the male-dominated crowd, this is the evening's highlight.
I think the girls' fights are awesome. I mean, they're usually more entertaining than the guy fights. They go longer, there's more intensity, more yelling and screaming, and it's nice, you know, to watch a sexy girl get up there and bash in the face of another sexy girl, you know what I mean? And afterwards, they're all bloodied and breathing hard. Yeah, it's great.
After 3 torrid rounds, Katie's fight is finally over.
This girl that I fought, Angie, she was amazing. She was super tough and had really good stamina too, which makes it a super fun fight.
Katie seemed to triumph, but in keeping with the spirit of the night, the big pink referee declares the fight a draw.
I mean, you know what it is it's about having that group of friends, you know, where you can all go out and be rowdy and it's just a bunch of good fun.
Approving an illicit thrill, or a private arena in which to cultivate masculinity, the Fight Club is many things to many Americans. And they're here to stay. Because experts believe the safer and more civilized our lives become, the stronger our urge will be to test ourselves in hand-to-hand combat.
Here's what's really interesting about fight clubs. The idea that you feel something that's real, that's authentic, that's immediate, that's visceral. You don't ever get that in our culture anymore. You don't feel anything. Our society provides us so few opportunities for anything that really feels meaningful.